how power, faith, and the human being were redesigned. The Renaissance illusion. The word Renaissance has told us the same story for centuries, a story of awakening, of reason replacing darkness, of humanity stepping into the light. But let us slow that story down. Look at the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. At the creation of Adam, God's hand is tense, muscular, decisive. Adam's hand is relaxed, waiting, incomplete. The distance between their fingers is almost nothing, and yet there is no touch. This is not a moment of equality, it is a moment of transfer. The Renaissance was not the age when humanity became free. It was the age when who was allowed to rise was decided. So who held that power? Not heaven. Earth, Chapter 1, Power and Money. Who art was really for. Look at Florence, narrow streets, massive palaces, and money everywhere. Now look closely at the Adoration of the Magi by Botticelli. At first glance, it appears to be a sacred scene. Christ at the center, everyone bowing. But stop looking at the Holy Child. Look at the faces in the crowd. These are not saints, they are bankers, merchants, members of the Medici family. The Medici place themselves directly inside the sacred narrative. They sponsor divinity. This is not an act of devotion, it is a declaration. In the Renaissance, art was not created for beauty. Art was created for legitimacy. Now turn to Portrait of Cosimo I de' Medici by Bronzino. His face is emotionless, still, unmoved. This portrait is not meant to charm you, it is meant to remind you. The armor is not for battle, it is for display. It says, "This city belongs to me." Power in the Renaissance did not shout. It stood still and allowed itself to be seen. And this power did not stop at palaces. It entered the church. Chapter 2. Faith and Propaganda, the Visual Language of Obedience. Look at Portrait of Pope Julius II by Raphael. He does not appear holy, he appears human, tired, severe. This is not a saint, this is a ruler. In the Renaissance, religion did not descend from the heavens. It sat beside power. Now turn to The Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci. Everyone knows this image. Few ask why it looks the way it does. Christ sits at the center. Every perspective line points toward him. This is not coincidence. It is mathematics. Even chaos is controlled. This is not a meal. It is a diagram of authority. Whoever stands at the center commands the order. Now step into the School of Athens by Raphael. It is often described as a celebration of knowledge. But look closely. Who is present? Men. Elites. Philosophers approved by power. There are no women, no workers, no ordinary people. Knowledge is not sacred, knowledge is managed, and managed knowledge is power. Now lift your eyes to The Last Judgment by Michelangelo. This is not a peaceful heaven. Bodies are tense, faces are filled with fear. God does not console, God judges. This image was not created to comfort. It was created to discipline, but fear alone is never enough. Human beings must also admire. Chapter 3. The Human Body. Beauty is control. Now the focus shifts to the human body. Look at David by Michelangelo. We are told this is a symbol of courage, but look again, at the hands, the veins, the tension. This body is not relaxed, it is prepared. This is not innocence, it is controlled power. The Renaissance did not simply celebrate the body, it standardized it. Now look at Vitruvian Man by Leonardo da Vinci. The human being is no longer sacred because it is divine. It is valuable because it can be measured. Every limb is calculated, every proportion defined. The human becomes a model, and models can be controlled. Now turn to The Birth of Venus by Botticelli. Venus is nude, yet not vulnerable. Her gaze is calm, her posture deliberate. This is not a birth, it is a presentation. Beauty here is not natural, it is selected. But to create ideals like this, the body must first be understood. Chapter 4. Science, Anatomy, and Obsession. Look closely at Leonardo's anatomical drawings. The body is opened, layer by layer. This is not curiosity, this is dissection. Human beings are studied not to understand themselves, but to master themselves. As knowledge increases, distance grows. Man becomes an object. Now turn to the Holy Trinity by Masaccio. Perspective deepens, space bends. This is not imitation, this is construction. You know exactly where to look, and where not to. Reality is no longer observed, it is designed. Nothing is accidental anymore. Not the body, not space, not the gaze. And those who command this control are no longer anonymous. Chapter 5. The Myth of the Artist. Genius and Ego. Leonardo, Michelangelo, Raphael. For the first time, names matter. The artist is no longer a craftsman. The artist becomes a figure. There is rivalry. There is pride. The idea of genius is born, and genius itself becomes a form of power. But behind this brilliance lies another reality. Chapter 6. The Dark Truth, the Shadow of Light. The Renaissance was not an age of peace. There was war, plague, the Inquisition. But these realities were rarely painted, because art was not required to show truth. Art was required to show authority. Light did not erase darkness. Light rose from it. Conclusion. The Renaissance did not teach us beauty, it taught us how power looks. And that is why it still affects us. Because we still believe images,